give you an update on where we are with the Phase 2 MS4 permit. And I want to discuss with you the post-construction language that's in the Phase 2, and then give you an update about where we are with the Phase 1. The MS4 Phase 2 permit expired on March 9th of 2008. There was a lot of discussion going back and forth between stakeholders and EPA, and they came up with a permit, a draft permit for the Phase 2, and went out on notice on January 14th of 2010. There were significant comments received, and we have revised the permit. It has been placed back out on notice. It went out on notice again on May 18th. It can be looked, you can get it from our webpage. It's my understanding that several of you in here are Phase 1s, and y'all did review the initial Phase 2 and provided comments. We welcome you to go out, read it, and comment on it. The Phase 2 for the post-construction stormwater requires a permittee to develop a program to address post-construction stormwater management in areas of new development and redevelopment. The implementation requirements for the program shall begin within 2 years after the effective date of the permit coverage. The permittee must develop and implement and enforce a program to address stormwater runoff from the new development areas and redevelopment areas. And the program must ensure that controls would be in place that would prevent or minimize water quality impacts to the local streams. The permittee also must develop and implement strategies to include a combination of structural and non-structural BMPs, and they need to ensure that these BMPs, both structural and non-structural, will ensure that the volume and the velocity of the pre-construction is not exceeded. The permittee may choose to use ordinances and other regulatory mechanisms to address post-construction runoff to the extent allowable under state law. And the permittee, the program shall ensure long-term operation and maintenance of the BMPs. And the MS4 is required to have a maintenance agreement. And if you would go to the Phase 2 permit and read, it gives a lot of detail as to what the agreements should contain. The post-construction, the permittee must document the decision for the development of the stormwater management plan, and there must be a rationale statement that should be included in the stormwater management plan and with the annual report. The rationale statement must address the overall post-construction stormwater management plan and individual BMPs, the measurable goals, and the responsible persons for the permittee's program. The rationale at a minimum must include each one of the following items, and today I just want to focus on the structural and non-structural BMPs. The non-structural BMPs may be something such as policies and ordinances that provide requirements and standards to direct the growth to identified areas, maybe to protect sensitive areas such as wetlands and riparian zones, and provide for more open space, maintain open space, or be able to create additional open space. Also, the non-structural BMPs may be where you create ordinances or policies so that you protect the existing wetlands and riparian zones and sensitive water bodies, minimizing impervious surfaces and minimizing the disturbance of soils and vegetation. You can also have education programs to inform developers and the public about project designs that minimize the impacts to water quality, educate them about measures that could be used to reduce the percentage of impervious surfaces after the development. Looking at structural BMPs, these can be implemented, of course, as appropriate for your particular site. Storage practices such as wet ponds and extended detention outlet structures, looking at filtration practices such as grass swales, bioretention cells, sand filters, and filter strips. And then also infiltration practices such as infiltration basins and infiltration trenches. That's just a brief overview of just the post-construction with the structural and non-structural BMPs. I do welcome you all to go out there and look at it, because what you see in the Phase 2 permit will be the basis for what you're going to see in your Phase 1 permit. Of course, there'll be some language changes due to the nature of the difference between a Phase 2 permit and a Phase 1. But, really do encourage you to go out there and look at it, because you could just consider that your minimum. That's going to be our starting point. We have to have the Phase 1 public notice by August 31st of 2010, and we have to have both the Phase 1 and Phase 2 permits issued by September 30th, 2010. This is my contact information. Again, I welcome you to give me calls, send me emails if you have questions. If you have questions regarding the MS4, if you could please, in some way, in an email that you send, title, so I know that's what it is, because I get a tremendous number of emails regarding construction, just everyday construction sites, and I know that y'all may have a lot of questions, and your questions may be a little more time sensitive, and I'd like to get back with you as quick as I could. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to give me a call.